If you like anatomy, perfect. If not, can't help you.
When you find your place, could you let me know where we are?
It's going to cost you.
Such as life.
7 lines from the bottom, 41b. Last 3 words on the line, 5 words.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the Mishnah said that if you're shechting an animal and you do it and you say it for a different purpose, it'll be for an ola, it'll be for this, it'll be for that. So biblically, you haven't sanctified it, so you're good. But rabbinically, they made an enactment, and the rule of thumb was if it's something which voluntarily could be brought to the temple, so then even when you didn't sanctify it, but you said it'll be for an ola, a shlamim, things like that, it'll be invalid. Now, one of the cases where you can't bring it, like achatos, a sin offering is not dependent on your voluntary, can't be a voluntary offering if you did an avera or not. So that usually is going to be fine. So one of the examples where it's fine is l'shem tmura. You're bringing an animal for the sake of tmura. Tmura is where you swap the holiness of one animal onto another animal, which is a biblical prohibition, and also a whole tractate in Shas. So, Rabbi Gleizer, lo shanu elosh ein lo zevach b'sok beso. It's only good, meaning your words mean nothing. They didn't do anything when you don't have another animal in the house. But if you have another animal in the house, and you said that I'm going to shech, so you have, cow A is in the house, and then cow B, you're shechting for the sake of a tamura. So then, Ema Amuri Amir Bey, people are going to say maybe he did tamura. So therefore, that's going to be an invalidation. Says the Gemara V'Halo Kamer L'Shem Tmuras Zivchi. He didn't say this for the sake of my tamura of my sacrifice, just in the name of a tamura. So Amar B'Yabo B'Omer L'Shem Tamura Zivchi. You have to say that if he would have said in the name of my tamura sacrifice, I'm shechting this in the name of tamura Zivchi, my sacrifice. So then that would also qualify as a rabbinic violation, because that's something which could be feasible. It looks very similar. You have one animal in your house, you have a second animal. You're saying, I'm doing this for the sake of tamura, which is exchanging sanctity from animal A to B. Well, if you have another animal in the house and you say my sacrifice, so then that's going to be a disqualification. Now, the Mishnah, as it often ends off, says this is the rule. So it's not just summarizing; it's coming to include a case which is not included in a list in the Mishnah. So the rule was, this is the rule: anything which is voluntarily offered, and you say it for that animal, will be rabbinically invalid. Anything which is not able to be voluntarily offered will not be rabbinically invalid. So we're going to, each way there's going to be a novelty. So zeh klal la'asuye mai. What is this coming to include? La'asuye olas nazir, the ola of a nazir. So that means that if you say that let this animal be an ola of a nazir, it's going to be included in the first part of the Mishnah that it's going to be, the animal will now be invalid, because that's too similar to what could actually happen. Now, what's the novelty of that? Why would you think that that's not good, to which the rule tells you that it is good? So you'll say, listen, the guy didn't make a neder of Nazirus. He didn't make a Nazirite vow. So you would, that's why you would think maybe it has no relevance. But aim are another, but the answer is, but maybe he did it properly. No one knew about it, no one heard about it, but that he might have did a Nazir vow privately, and now he wants to finish off his Nazirus, and he says, let this animal be an Ola of a Nazir. So once again, that would be a rabbinic disqualification, because people might think, oh, maybe he actually, this is actually a plausible case. In the event that he became a Nazir privately, he's going to have to bring the offering. So therefore, if he says that, so then that'll be a rabbinic, it'll make the animal rabbinically prohibited. What about the other way? The end of the Mishnah says, but if it's not able to be voluntarily brought, then there is no rabbinic enactment. What's that coming to include? the ola of a lady, an ola offering of a lady who gave birth. If you say that, that's not going to be disqualified. So Amr Balazar Lashon Elish and Lo Isha. That's only if you don't have a wife. If you don't have a wife, and you're saying I'm bringing ola of a wife who gave birth. Well, you don't have a wife, so that's not going to work. So Aval Yesh Lo Isha. Aval Yesh Lo Isha. If you do have a wife, so then Amar Lishmahu Osa. So maybe he's doing it for her. I v'halo kamer l'shem ola tzishti. Okay, well, he didn't say I'm bringing ola for my wife. He said I'm bringing ola for a childbirth lady, just for a lady who gave birth. He didn't say my wife. I'm Rabbi Abo, ba'omer l'shem ola tzishti. You're right. In the case that he has a wife, and he says I'm bringing this animal for my wife who gave birth. So then, whether she did or didn't is irrelevant. The fact that he has a wife at home and he says this, that is a plausible case, and therefore it's going to be rabbinically prohibited. Says the Gemara, well, that's obvious. Pshita. What would you have thought? Next page. Ma'odetema im Isa. You would have thought that im Isa the Yalda kala havile. If she would have given birth, rumors would have spread. I mean, it would have been on all the WhatsApp chats and mommy meals, and everyone know about it. Yeah. So therefore, we should say it should be valid. Kamash Malan, Aimer Apule Apil. So yeah, there's two ways to understand this. I think Rashi likes the second way, that the Mishnah is where you do have a wife, and yet we say where you do have a wife, and yet we say that it's not going to be good because you would have thought that maybe someone who sees him make this kind of declaration for his animal, so you would have thought that maybe that she really gave birth and people would hear about it. But no, Kamash Malan, that it could be that she miscarried, and therefore this vow is not going to have any validity, and therefore it's not going to be good. So, right. So if he just says it'll be for the sake of not my wife, but if it'll be for the sake of a woman who gave birth, so then that's going to be invalid. You would have thought it's valid because maybe she really did give birth, and maybe somehow we didn't hear about it. Even though generally we hear about it, and maybe in this case we didn't hear about it, and it should be valid. Kamashma, that no, people might just say that if they didn't hear about it, then maybe she miscarried, and therefore then there would be no need for a sacrifice, and therefore this statement is a statement which is not going to be necessary. I mean, it's not plausible, and therefore it's not going to have a rabbinic enactment come along with it. Okay. Hadronalach ha-shochet. Now, for the next while that I know of, here we go. This is the go-to picture book. Yeah, I don't know how clear it's going to be on Zoom, but I'll try to find a PDF or something or a slide. This is extremely helpful. So, here we go. Okay. Let's see how many of these I can mess up. Anatomy so well, what it means. Oh, this one also has pictures. This one also has pictures. Oh, these have good pictures in the article. I didn't know. Okay. Well, not bad. A whole cow. Look at this. Okay. Okay, so Elu Trephos Bibehema. The following are trephos, which render the animal invalid. So Nikuvas Havesht. So if it's a hole in the esophagus, Sukas Hagargaris. Yeah, or if the trachea is severed, or Nikev Krom Shalmoach, or there's a hole in the Krom Shel Moach. Every time I send you somewhere else over here. So, yeah. Yeah, here's the this is the skull of the animal. This is the chroma, the top membrane. This is the there's different parts of the brain. Top membrane, middle membrane, cerebellum. But yeah, the upper membrane. So that's Krom Shel Moach. Or Nikev Halev Lebeis Chalalo. Or now we're going to the heart. There's a hole in the heart in the in its chamber. So here's the heart of a calf. So it has a large chamber over here. So a hole in that large chamber of the calf. There's a large. Here we go. Here's the heart. Large chamber and small chamber. So the large chamber and the small chamber. So something damaged, a hole in the large chamber. Or nishbra hashidra. Okay, that's pretty easy. That the spine was broken. Ve'nifsa achuchala, and its cord was severed. That's over here. Where is it? Yeah, here's the chut hashidra. That's the little spinal cord. So if that gets severed, so that's a problem. The nifs, okay, nital hakaved, velo nishtayer hemenu klum. So nital hakaved. Now we go to the membrane, liver, and the gallbladder. So here is the second. Nital hakaved, 58 to 60. Okay. Where's the kaved? Where's the liver? That's the gallbladder. Where's the liver? This is part of the kaved. Okay, the liver. Is there a good picture? Here, different parts of liver. Yeah, here's liver. Here's liver. Okay, that's that. And then so okay, that's the Reya Shinikva, or it's missing something. Part of the lungs is missing. Now we have Rabbi Shimon Omer Acha Tinokev Lebeis Hasam Funos. So until there's a hole in the base Hasam Funos, which is here. The lungs of a cow dissected to show the Samphonos. How do you pronounce it? Bronchi? Bronchi. Oh, you're right. Well, that makes sense. Like bronchitis. Oh, bronchi. Good. So that's so until it goes to there's a secondary bronchi over here. So until it goes down to until it makes a hole into the bronchi. Okay, good. Thank you. So nikva ha keva and nikva hamara. So now nikva ha keva is now we get to the stomachs. There's 4 stomachs of a cow. So the keva is the bomasum. It's the last of the 4. Was that? Eba Mason. Sorry. How do you know these things in South Africa? What did you do over there? What did you work as? How do you know this? You worked Oh, that's true. Eba Mesim, okay. That's the keva, and then Nikva HaMara. Now Nikva HaMara is, I believe, the gallbladder. Yeah, here's the gallbladder Mara. Yeah, I wonder if it's sour. That's why it's called Mara. Okay, so that's that. Nikvu HaDakin. Dakin are the what? Yeah, Nikvu Dakin. Let's see. Here we go. Beautiful. Yeah, here we go. Right, here's the stomach, esophagus, liver, and then the dakin, small intestine, up here. Okay, small intestine. Back to okay. Okay, so that's that. And now hakaris hapnimis shenikva o shenikra rov hachitzonis. So the karis hapnimis is also, this is by the stomach, right? This is referred to as the rumen. Did I pronounce that right? Oh, this one's T doesn't know. Okay, yeah. I'm kidding. Yeah, this is the rumen is the exposed part. It's the visible are the papillae that line the walls of the interior. So the latter area, known as the area without any wool, is the karis hapnimi, the inner rumen. So, okay, we'll see more about each one of these. Not to worry. So, shenikra rova chitzona, or a lot of the outside got torn up. Rabbi Yehuda Omer hagdola tefach v'haktana beruba. A big animal if one tefach gets torn, and a small animal if majority of it gets torn, that's a problem. Now we have the masas and the beis hakosos shenik v'lechutz. So the beis hakosos is the reticulum. What? Reticulum. Good. Thank you. I was just checking you. And the masas is the omasum. Omasum. Okay. Good. So that's that. Now, yeah. So now all those shenikvu lachutz. If there's a hole on the outside of them, so then that's going to be a problem. If there's a hole in the thick wall that attaches the two stomachs, the animal is still kosher. But I guess in the outer part, that there's going to be a problem. That there's going to be a problem in the outer part of the stomach. Yeah. Okay. Here's all the nice stomachs over here. Well, very delicious. Yeah. So okay. So that's that. Now a little easier. We don't need pictures for this one. I mean, that'd be pretty cool though. Naflam in a gag, it falls off a roof, right? Or nishtabru rov tzlo. So tzlo seha are here the ribs. Also self-explanatory. And then the viderosas has an ave or a wolf devours it, claws it. Rabbi Yehuda Omer or Drusus has the ave, daka. But Drusus Ari begasa, a small animal that gets clawed by a wolf, a large animal by a lion. Drusus hanetz ba'of, or a what do you call it? A hawk. A hawk claws a bird. Hadak. The Drusas hagas ba'of hagas. The Drusas hagas is referring to the something in the hawk family. What's this one? Translate it.
Hard bird, goose.
Is that? A gus. Cloud by a gus. Sounds like it's in the family of a hawk. I mean, that's a bigger bird. A bigger bird needs a gus. Let's see what a gus is. It sounds like it's from the hawk family.
Rashi identifies gus as an austere,
or auteur in modern French. Does that help you? We have to go to Paris. Fine. So that's that. Okay, so that's that. And And then it says, Zehaklal. This is the rule. Kol she'ein kamoha kaya. If any animal that's not similar to it can't live, it'll be a treifa. So living is right now the sign of what's going to make it a treifa or not. Yeah. Okay, that's that. Amr of Shimon ben Lakish remez the treifa min Torah minayin. Where is the hint to a treifa prohibition in the Torah? It says minayin. You don't need a hint. It's a explicit verse. Who basar b'sad treifa lo zochelu. Any meat from animal in the field that's a treifa you can't eat. So what kind of question is that? It's an explicit verse. No, elarem is the treifa she'eno chayim in Torah minayin. How do you know what's a hint that a treifa is an animal that's not going to live, and that's what's prohibited? Where is that in the Torah? And now we say, the Ketani Seva Zaklal Kol She'en Kamo Chaya Treifa. So it says any animal which is not going to live, any animal which is similar to the one that just got injured or has a hole is not going to live is a treifa. Michlal the treifa eno chaya. Obviously, you learn from there that a treifa is one that cannot live. I think Rashi says somewhere for 12 months, maybe it's here. Yeah. I believe it's 12 months, yeah. So what's the source of that? Minal Dechsiv, it says in Vayikra, in the 11th chapter, it says, Zos hachaya asher toklu. This is the chaya that you're going to eat. What's chaya? Chaya, achol, she'eno chaya, lo seichel. The animal that will live, you can eat. The one that will not live, and now why is not going to live? Because it has one of these issues. And that we mentioned in the Mishnah. That animal you cannot eat. Michlal the treifa lo chaya. From there you see that a treifa is one that cannot live. Now it turns out it's actually two opinions that we'll see in, sounds like 15 daf from now. So with the Shrita Bachram. So I ulamand amar treifa chaya minolan. But according to the opinion that holds that a treifa could live out, so a lot of these injuries, a lot of these they live out for 2-3 more years. So minolan nafkale mizos achaya asher toklu zos achaya achol but achaya acheres lo seichel. This kind of living animal you cannot eat, but another kind of living animal you could eat. So what's a living animal that you cannot eat? The one that has a treifa. But other kinds of animals that are living you could eat. The ones that are not a treifa. So two opinions. It sounds like how long can a treifa live? One is under 12 months, and one that it can live for longer. And each interpret the verse in their own way. The other opinion, the idach, hayi zos mai avidlei. What do they do with the word zos? So mi baile lecheretan de Shmuel. We need it for the opinion of that was taught in the academy of Rabbi Shmuel. I'm sorry. We used zos for both opinions. Meaning, what's zos coming to exclude? Which animal is coming to exclude? I think, Didn't we just use those? We use those for both opinions. 1 second. Yeah, zos. We use the word zos. So what does the first opinion do with zos? They learned after the word chaya, not zos. So the first opinion that holds that treifa cannot live, what do they do with the word zos? They need it for the exposition of Rabbi Shmuel, the academy of Rabbi Shmuel, as was taught. The Talmud of Rabbi Shmuel zos chaya shetoklu melamed. We learn from here. This is the animal. What do you mean? This is the animal. Melamed shetapas kadosh baruch hu mikol min v'min behirelo l'Moshe. And it tells us that Hashem took from each species and showed it to Moshe. Zos. This yes, this no. You want to? What was doing it for 40 days? So yeah. So the Herelo the Moshe of Amrlo Zos Achol, but Zos Lo Techol. This you can't imagine with that. I guess Hashem create his own picture books, but without the picture books, you have to Moshe make sure Moshe understood all this. So that's right. This is actually from then. No. So the copyright Mount Sinai, 2,440 years ago. Ve'idach nami, and the other opinion, mi ba'ilei lechatani Rabbi Shmuel. Now, what does the other opinion do with this? They also need it for this exposition. Ve'inach nami, you're right. So if that's true, then you need a new verse to teach you. Where do you know that a treifa that lives? Where is that? Where do you know that's forbidden to eat in the Torah? So meidach Tana Rabbi Shmuel, from another Tana Rabbi Shmuel, from another academy of Rabbi Shmuel. So everyone agrees right now that the word zos is that Hashem showed Moshe from every species. If that's true, how? And now the opinion that holds a treifa cannot live says the word chaya. If it lives, you can eat it. If not, not. The other opinion says that a treifa does live out more than 12 months. So, what is it? How does it know that? Where's the hint that you cannot eat such an animal that has one of these issues in the Torah? It can't be the word zos, because zos, they agree, tells you that Hashem showed Moshe all the species. So where's a hint to you that an animal that even though it could live, but it's rendered a treifa, you cannot eat it? So that's from a different teaching from the academy of Rabbi Yishmael. The Tan Rabbi Shmuel, bein achaya nechel, it's bein achaya sheloi soichel. So whether it's an animal, bein achaya necheles, whether it's an animal that's alive, it could be eaten, ubein achaya asher lo sochal, or whether it's an animal that's oh, it's a pasuk. Sorry, bein achaya necheles ubein achaya asher lo seachel. Whether it's a living animal you can eat or a living animal you can't eat. Well, which one can you, which one can't you? If everyone lives past 12 months, how do you know which animals you cannot eat? And that we say, Elu Shmones Trefos Shenamru Moshe Messinai. This is referring to the 18 Trefos that were taught to Moshe at Har Sinai. So Halacha Moshe Messinai, there are 18 of them. So now we're going to ask, obviously, now we have a number 18. Now we're going to ask from many different places that I'll show you. We have more than 18, and then we have to figure out how you get back to the number 18. So the Suleka, 18, and that's it. Is that really true? The Ha'ika, we have Biskar. Biskar is just a acronym. The Shev Shmaitza, and 7 teachings. 7 other halachas. So let's see. Turning the page. Right. Yeah, the scar is a way to refer to 4 of them. So let's. Oh, they have pictures here too. Okay, let's see. Now. Okay, so now Bishlama Litana Didon. It's good according to our Mishnah that our Mishnah didn't give a number. It just listed a bunch of invalidations, but it didn't give a number. The Tana V'Shayir, that there's a general, a rule, but the way the Mishnah is written is sometimes it's not going to list you every single case. It can leave out some cases. Now, but you need a precedent that our Mishnah does that. You can't just say, oh, where are these extra cases? Oh, left it out. So you have to have a reason why you would say that. So often you have, so in our case, you have the fact that the Mishnah ends off, Asya b'zeh haklal. The Mishnah ends off with this is the rule. Whenever you have this is the rule, we just have that. It's coming to include something. So once it's coming to include something, which it didn't mention through the words zeh haklal, then you could say, okay, once it's left out mentioning one case, you could say it left out more cases. So that's fine. But but according to Rabbi Shmuel, that says the Academy of Rabbi Shmuel that says there's 18 trefos and there's no more. So then we're going to have this Baskar is an acronym of 4 invalidations, and then we're going to have these Shev Shmaitz, another 7 trefos that are going to be counted. So now, what are you going to do with all these cases? So according to you, the Ha'ika, the first one of the acronym of Baskar is the Beis. Behema shenechtechu ragleha min ha'arkuba ulamala trefa. So an animal that, yeah, here we go. Here's the animal's leg. So the arkuba, there's is a joint. There's a knee joint, and there is an ankle joint. So min ha'arkuba ulamala treifa. So meaning, I'm not sure which one's referring to. It's not, probably the upper, the knee joint. If that's removed, so that's going to be an invalidation. There's two joints. There's a knee joint and an ankle joint. Which one are we referring to? We're referring to the from above the joint. Which joint? The knee. Here they say the knee. Okay. Connects the femur and the tibia. But it might be two opinions later on in 33 daf. No. So get excited. Hope your seatbelts. So that's that. If that's removed, that's gonna be a treifa. Okay. So what do they do with that? That's another example. That's a case. It's not one of the 18. So Savar Lake, Rabbi Shimon Elazar, this opinion has 18 listed treifas must hold like Rabbi Shimon Elazar. The Amar Yecholehi lechavos ve'lichios. It's possible that it'll limp, right? That it'll what's called? Oh, meaning it'll be amputated and live. Yeah, you could heal if you amputate the leg, then it will survive. So therefore, it's not going to be it won't be one of the treifas. So okay, now. Yicholehi lichos v'lichios. Afagav yicholichos v'lichios. But still, even though it could live, afagav the lichos v'lichios. But leman ka'amar, according to who's he going like? You're right. It's not one of the treifas. According to you, it's only 18. This is not one of your 18, but exactly according to who you're going like, that would allow such a thing. If you're going like the Tanya Rabbi Shmuel, well, Tanya Rabbi Shmuel, treifa, chaya, spherle, he holds that a treifa can even live. So the fact that it could live is not a reason that it would invalidate according to Tanya Rabbi Shmuel. Even if it could live, it could still be a treifa. So Ella Savarla Rabbi Shimon Elazar, he must hold like the opinion of Rabbi Shimon Elazar. The Amar Ksheirahi, that he must hold that according to Rabbi Shimon Elazar, this is a kosher animal. So yeah. So this 18 treifas is going to hold like Rabbi Shimon Elazar. One second, but one second. The Academy Rabbi Shmuel said there's 18 treifas. We're asking from this behemoth that it's above the knee joint was severed, and we're saying that they must hold like Rabbi Shimon Elazar, who says it could live. Now, even though it could live, so what? According to Rabbi Shmuel, living is not a determining factor of being a treifa. So, what do you have to say? You have to say is. Yeah, and it wouldn't be a treifa. Okay. The reason why it's not included is because it's he goes like Shimon Elazar that it's totally kosher. Yeah. Okay. So So okay. So now we have another one. Va'ika chisarun b'shidra. There's something lacking in the spine. If there's something lacking in the spine, that's another one. So the Tanan kama chisarun b'shidra. Beishame omrim shtei chulios. U'beisil omrim chulia achas. Chulia is the vertebrae, right? Yeah. The vertebrae of the spine, yeah. Here's your vertebrae. Picture. Yeah, so vertebrae, yeah. in the middle. Yeah, so that's another deficiency. So either Beis Shammai you have to have two of them to be a treifa, or Beis Hillel you have to have one. Shmuel v'chein, and similarly l'treifa hamases ubeis hakosos d'chashavta lehu betarti. So we have another example of an invalidation is going to be the if you have a puncture of the hemsis, that's part of the stomach. Where's the hemsis here? No picture of the hemsis. Where is it? And in the basic kosos. So this hemsis and basic kosos, which you counted as two, but really chashinu b'chada, apik chada v'ayil chada. So you counted this as two, but really counted as one because they're both similar. And add in the invalidation of the spinal column. The hemsis and the basic kosos is in the stomach. They join the stomach together. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Here's the basic kosos. The hemsis is the omasum. Omasum? Yes, it was earlier. And the basic kosos is the reticulum. So these two are counted as two step ones in a list of 18. So we're saying instead of listing them as two, they're both similar. So list them as one. Now you only have 17, and add in the one about the spinal cord. So okay, the ha'ika gluda, but then you also have a deficiency called the gluda. What is the gluda? The gluda is the has no skin. Yeah, has no skin. Yeah, that's later in the Mishnah. So that's Savlakar of Meir, the Makshir. Hilzakar of Meir that holds that that's not a treifa. Okay. V'ha'ika charusa mara. So mara is the gallbladder. The charusa mara is a shriveled gallbladder. So that should be another invalidation. So man katani la Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. So that's Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda who taught that. So afik mara, the ayil charusa. So who taught that a gallbladder has an issue, it's a problem? That was Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. So take out gallbladder and put in shriveled gallbladder, and that's going to be one of the 18. Okay, but now we have Ha'ika, Shev, Shmaitza, the Amr of Masna. So we have these 7. Take me a long time to go through all the pictures. It's the 55. Okay, it has the 7. You have the 7 teachings that are going to be a treifa. The first one being the Amr of Masna, Hayi Buka de Atma, the Shaf Miduchte treifa. And if you have a picture here, it's the ball of the thigh that got removed. That's going to be a treifa. Velma Rachish Bar Papa Mishmei Derav Laksa Bekuya Achas treifa. Also, if the animal became even one kidney got diseased, that's also be a treifa. Vitnan and Itla Techol Shera. And another one is that if the spleen is removed, it's kosher. However, Amrav Avir Mishmei Rava Lo Shan Ela Nitel. That's if it's been removed. Aval Nikev. But if it had a hole in it, then it became a treifa. Amrav Barchana Amar Shmuel. So simanim she nedaldalu beruban treifa. So any of the simanim, meaning the pipe, the trachea and the esophagus, if those got dislodged, that's going to be the majority of them got dislodged. That's going to be a treifa. V'amar Rav Shila, Amar Rav Masna, Amar Shmuel. So nekra tzela meikra. So the tzela here, the picture. If the thigh, where's the picture? Yeah, no, the rib. If the rib, the tzela of the rib was removed, so then that's going to be a treifa. Ve'gulgolis shenichbasa beruba. The golus is the skull. Is the skull? The skull was crushed. Yeah, in its greater part. That's going to be also invalid. Ubasar achayfas roiva keres beruba treifa. And if you have there's flesh that covers over a majority of the keres, which is part of the stomach. So Baruba Treifa is going to mean that if you have the flesh, if that was flawed in its greater part, meaning it's to a majority of the part of the abdominal wall covering the paunch. So so if that got removed, so then that's going to be a problem as well. So now, why are all these 7 not counted? So why not count it? So we answered that the Nekuve Tamya Have, we have 8 punctures in our Mishnah, 8 holes. So Chashvinan Bechad. So if you count all 8 as one, just punctures, without getting involved in a puncture where, just a puncture, a hole, we have 8 of them. If you count it as one, now you have 7 less. So you add in these 7, and then you're good to go. So Tanya Havi Chashinu Bechad. So Apik Shav, I'll shove. So count them as one, and then you could put these 7 in, and that's that. Okay, let's stop it. That's not how we make decisions about what we feel that we should do.